Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So guys, today we have a really exciting video on how to manifest constant communication. So this is for you if you've been blocked, you've been ghosted, that you're just not in the communication, having the communication that you want with somebody. We're gonna go through and how you can create that for yourself. Just before I dive into it, guys, Aletha's coaching is 50% off right now. She's having a sale. She's absolutely amazing. All of our clients get crazy success. So yeah, definitely check out the link in the description below. And of course, if you guys want a free course, we are giving one away. It's how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast, because finding your blocks is truly the key to manifesting anything quickly, is knowing what thoughts you need to change. So definitely check out, the link is in the description below. And of course, we're still having a contest. We get to 100,000 subscribers. Check the link below, the description below, for how to enter. So welcome, Aletha.
Thank you. Thank you.
And guys, okay, so I've got a success story about constant communication. I'm going to share my own personal one that I have with Andrew. So way back when, it seems like years ago now, years ago, because now I can't stop him from texting and calling me constantly when he's not around me, but that's fine. So way back when we first started dating, you know, he didn't call me all the time. It was always me calling him. And I remember even one time manifesting, when I did message him telling me to stop messaging him so much because he was trying to focus on work and it was annoying him. So, you know, he wouldn't message me. He told me to stop messaging him. And I kind of felt like it was like, oh, what? Like, we're just going to message when you feel like it. So what I started doing, right, is I started intending that, you know, every day it was just like, he's okay with a morning text, like a good morning, how are you? So I would text him every morning, good morning, how are you? And then I would also intend at the same time that he was going to start texting me every morning before I even texted him. So, and I intended that he was okay, you know, with me texting him. And I would just do it in the morning because, of course, you know, I'd gotten in trouble, manifested getting in trouble for doing it all throughout the day, right? So pardon me, I just did it in the morning. And then eventually what ended up happening is I would get busy with work, and all of a sudden he would message me, good morning. Why haven't you texted me yet? I texted you first. And then one day I intended that he would just call me for no reason. And then all of a sudden I'm like driving, and I was doing this like community outreach job. I wasn't, you know, part-time with Create Your Future. And I was driving with one of my clients, and all of a sudden he phones me and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, nothing. I'm like, oh, why did you call? He's like, for no reason. I just wanted to say hi, hear your voice. And I was like, I thought, wow, I said he just calls me for no reason. And there he was, like word for word, I'm just calling you why, no reason. I'm like, oh my goodness. So, you know, I think a lot of it was me letting go of the resistance and letting go of the rejection, right? And starting to create that he wanted to text me the same as I wanted to text him.
Yeah, and you know, it's everything is what we assigned it to be, right? And so with you having those blocks that, you know, you can only text him certain times and he didn't like, you call texting him at other times. When you create it, and that's what I love about with the intention thing, we can create it according to what we've, or what seems to work best for us. You created that he morning, afternoon, whatever, all those different areas that you intended that he would contact you. So that we assign the meaning that he loves to contact me. He loves to be in touch with me. He contacts me first. We can always do those kinds of, because if we assign a meaning that they don't want to be in constant communication with us, and that's exactly what's going to happen. But if we change that to, I'm assuming and I'm living from the place that they do want to be in constant communication with me, that they love to be in communication with me more than I want to be in communication with, you know, with us. And so, because it's all about the meaning that we assign and the assumption we live from.
Exactly. And that's because everyone is you pushed out, and you're constantly a broadcasting tower. Now, that one time that I texted him and he was upset about it, it's because before I sent that text, I was like, oh, maybe I'm texting him too much and he's going to be upset. And then sure enough, voila, he was, right? So it's also important to not take those things as like, serious to live by. Like me at the time, like it felt serious. He said it, you know, and then I intended that he was just like, at the moment, he was like, you know, basically just busy with work and frustrated or something. And that he really didn't mean it. And I do remember like the next day or that night, him saying, you know what, I'm sorry, you know what, I do love you texting me. It's just, he's like, I was just busy and I, you know, I do want you to text me. I don't want you to stop texting me. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I changed that story after, and I had that, I revised it in my head instead of like holding on to it. Like, oh my goodness, you know, he doesn't want me to text him. He's rejecting me. I said, no, you know, he was just busy at the time. It was just the, you know, an inconvenient time. I know I created it. This is what he's going to say about it. This is what he's going to think about it. And this is how he, you know, what he's going to say to me. He's going to apologize for it. Right. So, you know, we really want to, you know, have those inner conversations about stuff. Right.
Yeah. And, you know, we need to live from the end of having it. And stuff that you said is so important, because if we allow ourselves to fall into the trap of thinking the 3D is the ultimate end and that we're stuck because they said that and they're thinking that and they're talking to us and saying those words to us, and then we think that's, you know, I have to live by that. No, I don't. Everything is me pushed out, and they conform to what my thoughts are. And so if they, like you, what you did, you said no. First you felt, you know, the unhappy feeling of what he said, but then you moved on to, I'm going to intend it to be what I want it to be, because he has to conform to my thoughts. So what I'm thinking, he's going to think. And often with my clients, it's like, whatever you're thinking, they're thinking. So if you're thinking they don't want you to contact them, like you said, you had that fear before you sent that text, then that's what's going to show up. But if you think they love talking with you and want to be with you and constant communication with you, then that's what's going to happen. But it's a matter of persisting in that and catching our thoughts when we get those negative thoughts or assumptions about somebody else, realizing that we're actually thinking that, you know, to intend that, you know, that I'm always aware of my thoughts and I'm always I'm constantly catching them and always staying in the place of what I want and having it and living from that place of having. And if I'm having this wonderful relationship with this person, then I'm going to have this constant contact with them.
Exactly. And, you know, the biggest thing, we talked about this earlier, that people say their clients, I heard my clients when I did coaching say was, you know, it was like, they're like, oh, he didn't text me or she didn't text me. And my answer was always, when did you decide they weren't going to text you? Because you're the creator of your reality. When did you decide they were going to ghost you? Because they can't do anything that you don't think is happening. So if you don't want anyone to ghost you, don't even think ghosting is a thing. So for example, like if I text my mom, okay, and she doesn't text me back for like a half a day, I'm not like, oh, my mom's rejecting me, she's not texting me. No, I'm like, you know what, she's busy, she'll text me later. I never make the determination that she's ghosting me. I never make the determination that she is ignoring me or doesn't want to text me or didn't text me back. So, you know, we've got to watch our self-talk after we say send that text. You know, when do we decide that it's not going to happen? Well, it's up to you, you know, so it's about keeping that open and going, okay, no, when you send that text, okay, first thing is yeah, they're going to text me back. And if you think, oh, okay, well, they're busy, no, they're going to drop everything, or as soon as they have a break at work, they're going to text me. So, you know, creating the meaning that they're busy is better than creating the meaning that they're rejecting you. But then again, creating the meaning that they're busy isn't all that great either, because you want them to have time for you. So create the meaning of why they haven't texted you yet, and create it that, okay, they are going to text me right away. They are going to text me at their next break or when they're done work or as soon as they can. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen now. And then, you know, take some time, create the conversation in your head with an inner conversation. What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Like, how's the conversation going to go? You know, spend some time living from that end of it happening and what the conversation's going to be. Right.
Right. And, you know, we need to, I like that, creating a conversation of living from the end with that person. And literally, because what people don't realize is, like, when we're in that place, we're using our imagination when we're creating that conversation, and we're literally, we're talking to that person in the 4D. We're talking to that person, and the 3D is a reflection of our past thoughts. So when we're in our imagination and we're talking to that person about whatever it is that our heart's desiring, and we're hearing them say the things that our heart's desiring to hear, it's real. It's real. We at the same, and that's will show up then in our 3D. So it's so important to do that and to rehearse it and to live from that. And how do you live from it? How do you catch yourself? How do you have that in your arsenal of things to combat negative thoughts that come into your mind? Well, you practice it, you repeat it over and over, and you have those conversations frequently throughout the day, and then you live in that persistence and just making a choice. It's a choice. What do I want to experience? Do I want to experience living from the end with my SP in communicating and whatever it may be? Or do I want to just go down the negative road? And you get to choose. And so I was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. 100%. You know what? It's funny. We were talking about this earlier. What I usually do, and I've done this for years, right, is I turn around. Okay. Say for instance, I was just talking with Andrew about something. Actually, one thing was actually the mortgage of our house, right? So when we were getting this house and we need to apply for a mortgage, I've never done that before. So I had a lot of like negative beliefs and a lot of worry and and I remember Andrew, because like, people told me I couldn't qualify for a mortgage or anything like that. And like, long story. So of course I was creating that because that's what I was thinking. And then one day he says, well, what's going to happen? I said, well, you know what? I'm going to call this bank, and you know what? They're going to give me exactly what I want. They're going to say, Amanda, you're amazing. You're successful. And yeah, you've got great credit, and we're going to give you the mortgage, and we're going to do it now. And we're going to do it outside of the rules. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And I do that all the time. Like, this is a great technique. If you've got someone negative about something, so let's say, you're trying to create something, or you're sitting with your friends and your friends are like, oh, he's never going to call, he's a player. You can easily say, you know what? No, this is what's going to happen. And this is what's going to happen now. He's going to call me and he's going to say, you know what? I want to be with only you, and you're the one for me. And I never wanted to be with anybody else, and I never will. Like, you can create it in your language with people that you're with. It's a great technique. I do it all the time, and it creates it. And then, you're no longer sitting there either taking in what that negative person is trying to say to you as well, and put more, and create more doubts and worry. You're like, no, you know what? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I remember this one time I bought these potatoes and I didn't have the receipt, but the potatoes were rotten. I mean, at $4. Okay. But at the time it was a big deal to me, and I didn't have the receipt. So I said, you know what? Andrew goes, do you think they're going to take the potato back? You don't have any receipt. I said, well, you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm like, I'm going to walk in there, and the lady that takes my return, she's actually going to be the cashier that rang me through earlier today, and they're going to give me my money back. And then sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So, you create it, like, have fun with it. I mean, maybe not try it with huge things, maybe try it with huge things, but start out with small little things, like, definitely try this technique, along with, creating with yourself in your mind, you're scripting or journaling what that conversation is going to be.
Yeah. And when you do that, it's predicting your future. And it also takes care of when you're making that statement that it's going to be a certain way. No, this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now what's going to happen. When you do that, that's a declaration, and it takes away that sometimes we feel like, okay, I'm making intention and I feel like I'm pretending because it's so far from what I'm seeing in the 3D. But if you're doing it in a way that you just suggested, like, no, I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. And then you elaborate on what that is. You're actually making a declaration. It's taking away any of those fears and doubts of like, I feel like I'm pretending. You're not. You're making a declaration like, this is the way it's going to be. And then it does show up because you've just lost all your blocks when you've done that, when you do that. And it is a way of predicting our futures because we're the creators. We can do that. That's our ability.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Aletha. I mean, guys, this was really great information. I'm just going to recap a little bit here. So remember, everyone is you pushed out. People are going to think what you think. Like Aletha said, watch the meaning you're giving things, like really watch the meaning. And then, script out or have inner conversations or anything. Focus on, what the text is going to be about, what the conversation is going to be about. Really change your story when you send a text because you're ultimately in control whether the person texts back or not, right? So persist, never give up. Like, never say, well, they didn't text me back. Okay, well, when did you choose to give up, right? And, and really have fun with it, and really, really have fun with it. But the most important thing is to stay on your mental diet, watch your thoughts, right? And persist until you start getting what you want, right? And, you know, and don't hold back or block anybody, because when you hold back, if you say, I'm not going to text him until he texts me, that's coming from a rejection story. You know, come from constant communication. What would your actions be if they wanted to talk to you? Would you, do you know, how, like your best friend, like you never say, oh, I'm not texting them, will they text me? No, you just text your best friend. So you want to come at it with that same energy, right? So again, thank you so much for being here today, Aletha.
Oh, thank you. It's fun. It's fun to.
I know. I love it. I love talking law of assumption. It's great. And guys, you know what? We intend that every one of you guys has a great day, gets in communication, gets unblocked. And yeah, and thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.